where we are now, what it is, the puppetry art, especially in this world of the mixing of the convenience, of the forms, of very different presentation of the multimedia, dance, drama, theater, visual art, of everything. We, the puppeteers, we use as well all these meanings. I call that 21st century puppets because I would like to present just some pieces. It will be from 3 to 5 minutes of the probably for most of you very well-known performances. But even if it will be like that, I hope for some people it will be something new. I think it's good just to for the beginning of our conference present the differences of the puppetry art, the different techniques. For example, when we are talking about the puppetry art, about the history of the puppetry art, everything is not true, but anyway, everything was quite clear. We have had the techniques, we have the tradition, big tradition, with the centuries of the activity of different artists. Today, the situation is much more complicated. Everyone is trying to find something special. Everyone is trying to create the forms, the objects, the puppets, very different. Even for most of the puppets, we have no the names, how we can call. We all were thinking we are the puppeteers, but well, it was the title of our conference some years ago, what it is, the puppet. Because in the contemporary world, it's nothing with the human body. It could be just a thing, just an object. It could be just a shadow, not in the sense of the ancient thinking about the shadow theater. It could be the sound. It could be everything. Well, let's start because the film is enough long. Then I would like to finish the film, and I will make some comments during the presentation. Go on. Oh, the light is not important for me. I think for you it will be better as well just to see the screen, not myself, because I have nothing more. Oh, it's good like that. It's fine. Well, I'm starting. It is with the sound, but from time to time the sound is very important. From time to time it's not so important. It's better to have a small part of the sound. Ezequiel Garcia Romeo, he's Argentinian, I think, originally, but he's living in France since the years, and he's still working with the puppets. It is quite old, just from the end of the 20th century performance. I don't know what his English name, Aberration de Documentaliste. But it was so important for me just to present the different forms, the different objects which Ezequiel Garcia Romeo put into the performance. Could you give a little bit more sound? It's a pity we have no sound because the music is as well a part of the show. It is the... Well, that will be a kind of complication for you because I have the music in my ears. Yes, but well, it will be just the presentation of the images. Maybe for the next parts of this film, the sound will come. We'll see. But anyway, just please look the figures, look the objects, which are completely individual. Of course, it is something between an actor. I will not speak about the. We'll have something. Just maybe for the people from here, this show is much more known than for other people from other part of the world. But anyway, it is extremely interesting work between the actor, manipulator, animator, and puppeteers. Another example, Neville Tranter, originally from Australia, who is living in Amsterdam, in Holland, and that is one of the show which I love very much. It's called Schicklgruber alias Adolf Hitler. It is about the last days of Hitler. And maybe please see, because, and I will not talk about that, because it's very important how Tranter is playing the role of the Hitler in this part.
Before you fell asleep, I brought you the book of the photographed boys. Would you like to see the book again? Or would you like to speak to Fräulein Brown? Dr. Goebbels, what is his daughter doing here? Who made it? What is its purpose? Is it for my birthday? I will be 56 years old. I see only one candle. I will not be one. I will be 56. Who is responsible for this joke? You don't know, you don't know. 80 girls, there's a coordinator in the middle of the table with only one candle, and nobody's mentioned one word about it. Is that actually funny? What is the topic of the conversation here? In topic number. What if there was an elephant here on the table? An elephant with long white tusks. What would you be discussing then? You would not be discussing the weather.
Well, I will start to talk a little bit because it's very important to hear it. But the question for me is so important is the relations between the actor, manipulator, and the live person. From time to time, he's just the animator. From time to time, he's just a servant, real servant, as a human body. From time to time, he's a partner of them. Well, we will go very quickly. Then I have no time to speak about all the shows. Ilka Schenbein, wonderful artist from Germany, and that is the show which called Old Lady and the Beast. Completely another style of thinking, completely another approach into the puppetry art. The puppets is a part of the body of this girl, this actress. You have seen two small pieces. One is just this ballerine from the very beginning. He presents during 2 or 3 minutes only the whole life of this girl. And the second piece of this show, which I would like to show you, is about the beast, when the beast is going on, the burn of the beast. It is just the body of an actress and some pieces of the material, of the fabric, of the object. With this combination, she can create extremely wonderful hero for this show. Of course, it's only the part of that. Sorry for the technical level of this presentation, because most of them was made by myself, and of course I have the agreement of the artist to put these short pieces of this art, but not to present whole the shows, of course. The second piece of the show, When the Beast is Coming. It is extremely fascinated work with the body, with some elements of the fine art of the masks, object which are present on the performance. Of course, we can speak about the technique. We can speak about the roots of this school, because it is something very special. It is not popular everywhere. Some artists are looking for the very individual approach into the puppet theater, and I think they change our world. They change our tastes. They change everything which is going on the floor. She is graduated the school in Stuttgart, a very interesting university in Stuttgart, and then the school in Charleville-Mézières in France. Then she has really very good education. She preferred to perform on the streets, not in the theater building, but from time to time she's doing as well the big performances like this this one I am proposing you for this short presentation. Well, the show which is very well known as well, the show which was presented everywhere. Mark Down from UK create with his team this performance, The Table. It is something incredible. We have only one puppet and the show which take 1.5 hours. And we are really fascinated by everything. It is one piece of the show when this is the Jewish name. Yes, Moses, because it's fantastic talking with the God about his position and as well about the puppetry art, and it is just how to go against the wind. The only one seen from this show, but the show is fascinated in all elements of this presentation, and we have only this head from the paper and this crazy body and 3 animators like in the Dracu style performance, and only one table. Everything during 1.5 hours is going around this table, on this table, only using this one puppet. It's a lovely show. Well, the show as well, very well known, Warhorse, from UK, from the National Theatre, which has nothing with the puppets, but they invited the South African company, Handspring Puppet Company, just to create this show. And of course, not only the horses which are presented here are so fascinated, but as well the horses, it's something brilliant in our profession. How to manipulate that. We can see everything because all horses have 3 animators. One is moving with the legs, front legs, second from the back legs, and one is moving by the head. That's all. That is just I love this scene. It is a gallop. I don't know what is English name of that. Just the big action during the war. Everything is going on the one place. They don't move. But our impression is incredible. Of course, you can find in the show many accents of the puppets, but everything which is connected to the puppets, to these big horses. In the internet today you can find extremely big materials about this show. I don't know if you can imagine that till today 8 million spectators have seen this performance because this show was created in National Theatre in UK. Then they sell it into Broadway, the show, and this show is still presented in many places on the world. It is something absolutely fascinating for all of us because of the movement, because of the thinking, because of every small details which are there. The artist, which is, sorry, he passed away some years ago, it's Hoichi Okamoto from the famous Japan theater, Dondoro Theater. It is the last show. I think nobody have seen that because it was presented only 2 or 3 times in Japan just before his death. But fortunately, this show was registered. And thanks to these registrations, we can observe the last work by Hoichi Okamoto, who was, for me, one of the performers, of the artists, who create the new style of thinking. He combined the tradition of the Bunraku style, the tradition of the No theater, and Buto dance. And he created his own style of everything. The shows are not the words. It is just the music and the presentation. Please give a little bit more music, more sound for the moment, and please, it is very concentrated. For some people, it's even not acceptable because of the kind of being in this show. But for that people who can find the real connections with that, it is fascinating. Because everything so slowly, so delicate, manipulated, is absolutely great. He's alone on the stage. It's up to our interpretation what is going about, these relationships between the two people on the stage. I know many interpretations of that, but I think just the relationship between the live actor and this death puppets, which starting to be as well live, it's incredible. It's 1 hour performance, not the first one by Hoichiro Okamoto. Maybe you remember some other performance by him because he started his career in the 80s of 20th century, and he created many shows. He traveled very often into different continents, into different countries. But I think it's just the clue of the style he offered to the spectators on the stage. Just this incredible reflection and very individual style of being on the stage. Everything is extremely slowly. He has some students, some people, some pupils, and they created some years ago in Japan a festival which is a kind of continuation the world which the road which Hoichiro Okamoto created some years ago. It is fascinating. However, it is a very special kind of the puppetry art, very puppets. well, just a piece of that. Another contemporary artist, Frank Zenle from Germany, with Salto Lamento, the show which he stopped to perform this show some years ago, but well, that is as well something very interesting, from very different reasons. One of them is just his approach into the puppets. He's one of the first, maybe the first student of famous German string puppeteer Albrecht Roser. Albrecht Roser, who created the school in Stuttgart in the 70s, end of the 70s, he was a famous string puppeteer in the Europe, I think, one of the best. But Frank Zenle, who is the marionettist as well, he went to another direction. He started from the classical, traditional string puppets, from the marionettes, but he changed it. He developed this marionette into completely different form of being. During the show, it is the show about the 9 or 7, I don't remember exactly, Danse Macabre, the vision of the death, the dance with the death. It's one of the piece of that. But he's using the string puppets in a completely different way. He has now the cross, which is an aim of the puppets everywhere. The cross is just up. All these strings, they are the gum, probably gum, I don't know. And he can move directly. Even in some performances, he moved from completely another part of the space. The string puppet is on the central part of the stage, but he's just on the wall, and moving the puppet just from another position. He changed this puppet during the performance, starting from the string puppet, from the marionettes. He created a kind of mask. He created a kind of tabletop puppet. He creates some different forms of that just to express his own images. It is as well the show without the words. However, I think it is not important we have the show with or without the words, because it's up to the creator. It's up to the situation he creates on the stage. You know, everything is possible. Quite often, the artists are starting from the idea, from the object, from some kind of puppet, and they need some text, some words. They can add something. It's up to the situation. Everything is possible in that. Fortunately, Frank Zenle, who spent many years in the Stuttgart Puppet Academy, puppet school, he was a head during some years of the school. Now he's still active. He's enough young, and he's offering many workshops around the world. He's working in all the continents. He's collaborating with the very different artists. He's one of the representatives of this very new style of being in the puppetry art, when the other theater people invited the puppeteers just to be responsible for some parts of the show. Well, this show probably you have seen as well is Bestiaire, made by Duda Paiva some years ago. Duda Paiva, who is Brazilian originally, then there is no reason to present him himself, but because his background is the dance, he's trying to use to explore this dance into his theater. He started as a solo artist, but please remember that solo artist is not like that the artist is responsible for everything. It is the theater art. Then we need every time the director, the choreographer, the scenographer, the composer, and so on, so on. Even Duda Paiva, who during last years direct as a director many shows in different theaters, for his own performances, he invited the other directors. That we remember finally the name of the creator of the show, but the theme of the theater is much bigger. And that is very important to remember about that. This show is on the Greek myth, and that is Medusa. I don't know what is English name of Medusa. Well, but it is just for the first time in this show he used the full body puppets with the legs, which is extremely difficult because, as you know, he's creating the puppets from the foam, very special kind of foam, and he made the sculpture in one piece of the foam. There is no connection inside. The whole body of the puppet with the legs, with the hand, with the everything is just from one piece of the material of the fabric, of the foam. Then it needs really somebody very, very interesting as a manipulator, as a puppeteer, just to be responsible for all the movements of this puppet, which is not easy. And even in this show, however, it is one of many shows he presented during last years. Even in this show, he is not performing himself. He just has a company. One version was in Norway, one version was in the Netherlands presented of this show, and he just has some dancers and some puppeteers because it's not the show for one person. There are three or four on the floor in this show. And for example, for this girl, it was the first contact with the puppet in her life. She's a dancer. After some months of the working, she received enough good results just to be on the stage. But well, even here, what kind of the puppet it is? We have no names. That is so difficult for the theoreticians, for the critics, to write about that, to categorize. Of course, we have the text in this show. We have all the plots, but not in each small part of the performance. Well, something from Russia. The performance made by the independent company Carson House in St. Petersburg some years ago. You have the English text here. When they used just the objects. It's a wonderful story, very simple, extremely simple. Presented by one actor who is working with the figures, who manipulate all these small elements and who use in a very interesting style the space. For example, this element at the moment, I choose just the one scene of the travel of this hero. He's going through the forest. Then he's trying to swim through the river. Then the same element he used as a mountain. That is so puppetry approach into the thinking about our imagination, about all these small elements. The show is extremely touching. It's about the Russian Russian soul. You know, not only Russian, I think, but it's extremely nice as a theater performance as all. It is so puppetry thinking about the space, about the place where the performance is going on. Then even if the actor is so strong, for like this actor here, who are so concentrated on the puppets because everything is going through the puppets. Well, that is one show. I wanted to show a small piece of that. Take Flight, made by Jani Young from the South Africa. She was a head of the Handspring Puppet Company, and she present one show with the Polish company in Poznań, and it is about the well, what is the name of this bird? Stock of the stock. Yes, of the stock. One stock is white, one is black. Well, and they start to try to live together. In Africa, it was not good for this the white one because he was not accepted. The dream of the people of this hero was to go into the Europe where everything is okay. But it was started another very hard part of his life because in Europe this black stork was not accepted as well. Just small pieces, but I wanted to present that as a very good example of the kinds of puppets which are the part of the actor body. These puppets are not exist just as an object, as a puppet. We have some wings, we have some part of the bodies, the nose, but everything is just connected into the actor. And just the presence of an actor, of the manipulator, give the life to the puppets. It is something, in my opinion, very interesting and very well prepared in the European, especially in the European puppet theaters, which I observe much more than in the other continents. And Jani Young, she was not only a director of the show, she was as well the scenographer. She created the puppets for the performance, and she was during some weeks preparing this show there. It is the show for the children. It's not something for the adults. However, the problems which are provoked by this show are really very interesting for all of us, because it is about all these people who have the problems in the contemporary world. Another show which I love, Hulu, it's from the Bleak Theatre from France. This show was not so much presented in many countries, many festivals. Please see some elements of that, because the artists from this performance are coming from the circus. They graduated, all of them, they graduated the cirque academies, the cirque schools, and they created finally the shows. For some pieces of the show, even for me, is absolutely unknown how they do it. It is incredible, because we have this imaginative world of these creators, of these creatures, these small people. And of course, we have very often the manipulators inside the boxes, but in some combination of presence of this person on the stage, even from the puppeteers, it is not so clear to understand how they do it. There are three person on the stage only, but the combination, you can see, I choose just only these small things with different kind of the puppets, how the puppets are working on the stage. This figure has approximately 50 centimeters, maybe 60, something like that. It's an incredible, interesting show because it's about a very contemporary world. The main character is a girl, live girl, and she's trying to go to another world which will be much better for her, because in our world she felt not so good. Then she creates something in her imagination and try to go on to this another world. This another world will be finally as well not so interesting, but the process of everything is fascinating. Please see it. It is one manipulator who make the movement not only of himself, that is easy, but he manipulate this puppet which you can see on the right side. Only by one hand, which is inside the box, with the yeah, that is crazy. That is crazy. Here we have one actor and I can see two puppets. Of course, half of the body of the actors is in the box, that is sure. But anyway, it's not so easy to manipulate with that. That is something absolutely fascinating. They created a kind of wall which should divide this real world and this new one where everything is happy. And we have some blackouts during the show just for 10 seconds, just to change the situation, because it is impossible to open all the possibilities of that. From one side, of course, we know all these possibilities of the puppets, but it is not so often presented into the shows. Then sometimes when we have the possibility to meet with this extremely simple from one side puppets, but so great, so wonderful thinking, it's offered to us, I think, a big pleasure and the big emotions. Because after the show, as after many other shows which I present you here, the audience, which is very different. Sometimes there are young people, there are children, sometimes there are families, sometimes there are the adults, and everything is so touching, everything is so personally interested in. Then, well, it's offer, wow, the puppetry art is something unbelievable. It's really something which is the creativity of the art is incredible, on the high level possible. Technically, it is perfectly done. But of course, it is a result of the presence in our circle, in our milieu, the people from completely another professions. Probably without, like for example, for some shows, without the knowledge of the dance, it will be not so easy to make all different things. Same here, without this knowledge of the circus, of the body, which is absolutely differently prepared to the presentation, to the being on the stage. It is not possible to show this kind of elements. And of course, it's perfectly when we have as well a good show. Well, I didn't know that Veselka Kuncheva is here because I know, because I wanted to eliminate all the artists who can be present here. Fortunately, she is here. It is one of the shows. Is just the teaser, the trailer of the show. Sisyphus. Extremely wonderful, extremely modern show, which was directed by her, and I just stole this part from the internet just to present you, because anyway, for sure there are not so many people who have seen this show, how the contemporary artist can work now. What is his imagination? How can organize the space? It is only for one actor on the floor, but the imagination of the creators, of the scenographer, of the director, of the actor who is on the stage is really incredible. He's fascinated. He's very new taste of the presentation, extremely professional, and really well done. But she's here for sure. She will have a speech. Then I don't like to speak about the show because for sure she's discovered much more elements of this work. It's just some very exciting elements of the show from whole performance, not one scene. It's just the panorama of everything which we can see in the performance. But it's the same time. We can find a name for this kind of puppet which we can see on the stage. What we're talking about? That is a very interesting question for I think for all of us. The future of the puppetry art, even the contemporary time, because there are the shows from the last years, from 2, 3, 4 years ago. Well, it's a trailer as well. Ashes, Ingvild Aspeli from Plexus Polaire, from the quite new company, which started to exist very, very seriously. This show is very well known everywhere. The next one, Chambre Noire, which was presented 2 years ago for the first time, is very well done as well. But just to see something different. We have the real, I can say, real figure on the stage in very different dimensions. But we have at the same time the magic climate and atmosphere during this show. She's using everything which is well done, which we have seen in many different shows. But just the concentration of the things, just the finding of the subject, of the theme. It is about it is a kind of documentary from another side performance, which is connected with the real episodes in Norway about one fireman, somebody who burned, pyroman, who tried to realize his dream, and as well, it is not only a dream, it is as well a kind of the very inside, very individual stresses and cauchemars, which are represented by one person. It's done. Once again, Paiva, because as I told you, he is doing during last years many performances in different countries, not only in his own company, but in different puppet theaters in all over the world. This is the last show from him, created in Latvia, in Riga, Golden Horse, based on the very, very classical fairy tale, but that is nothing with the performance for the children. But the idea of this show is just to put, because from one side we have the same puppets as Duda Paiva use every time, but something new in this show is that everything is going on the checkboard. Checkboard? Yes, checkboard. As a black and white good and bad persons, and every one person is divided into two. Then the actors are playing with half body puppets, half black, and the other with half white. This is this princess finally founded by the hero, but it's not this guy who offered the freedom to her. Then it is as well, even in the program of the theater, of this show, it is very interesting because where we have usually the cast of the performance, the princess has known the name of the animator. Because depending of that, which is the part of the show, which moment she proposed, different actor is manipulate this person. She is absolutely independent. Of course, she need a partner, an actor, a manipulator for that, but that is differently. There are many fascinated pieces in this show. I choose just the final sequence of that, when she is trying to be in the normal world. It's quite complicated. There is no reason to talk about the story of this show, but just please see. It will be just now. It will be one scene which show you these differences between the half-body heroes in the show. Finally, he win. He think. This Black Prince. It is with the full text show. They have the English version as well. And during whole this show, this moment will show you what I was talking about before, about this black and white person in the show. Because during all the show, they are coming here. There are two mothers, black and white. Finally, each person starting to be one person, partly white, partly black. Well, it's something absolutely strange. Oreste by François Lazaro, the French director, and the creation from the Banja Luka Puppet Theatre from Bielsko-Biała, from Poland as well. But it is an example of using the sculptures, the Greek sculptures, in a huge dimension on the stage. Even in Poland, this show is playing in Greek language. Is no words in Poland. They use the smartphones, the mobile phones. They put some messages on the screen. But I think it is so incredible presentation of a kind of vision of the antique theater, with so kind of emotion, with so extremely huge air space for the show, that I decided to present you just that. It is Cassandra. Of course, she's manipulated by the actors. There is no actors inside. It's just on the sticks, the puppet which is movable on the stage. Just some second. Well, one of the really new show, Gerda's Room from Jana Tumina from Russia. The show which received during last weeks the Golden Mask in Russia. It's Russia in Smin. Then by the critics, by the spectators, was said that, well, it is one of the best shows, and it's really something incredible. It is about based on the Andersen fairy tale about the King of Snow, yeah, King of Snow, something like that. Snow King, yeah. Snow Queen, yes. And well, Gerda is an old woman. She spent whole his life in the closed room, and during whole his life, he tried to understand what was happened, why, what she did bad, why Kai is it disappeared, why she didn't help to him to come back into the normal life. It is extremely wonderful play with the space. Especially, it is difficult to find just a short moment of this show to present you what we are going about, what we are talking about, because all this space of this room is movable. All the walls, all the objects, the tables, everything is movable, is offering something extremely interesting as a theater vision, as just the proposal of the climate, of the atmosphere of the new theater. I think it is something really new in Russian theater as well, because I didn't see so many performances in this country, the huge country with so many puppet theaters, which open our imagination into the future, which are trying to discover something close, something very personal. That is one of the examples of that. With a very special climate, the show. With the brilliant artist Alisa Olejnik, who is performing all the roles in this performance. Mostly all the roles, because it was something as well very interesting in the program, because in the program it is written that the room is playing by one guy, one actor. You know, the room. And even in some festivals he received the prizes because this room is a real person, I can say. Well, that is just the small piece again from the Polish. It's Don Quixote. From one of the Polish puppet theater. It is not the puppet performance. However, I choose one element, one small sequence of this, just to show the possibilities of using puppets as a media. Because when Don Quixote created his world in his imagination, everything we can see as a puppet animation, the actors have the real puppets on the stage, but he's playing with his stick on the screen. He, real person on the stage, is making the action on the screen. That is something absolutely new for me. I was shocked when I have seen this part of the show. However, it is an acting actors' performance. It is not the puppet performances, but it is, as we have seen the Warhorse some minutes ago, it is as well the acting. It is the drama theater. But in the contemporary theaters, we have so many examples of using the puppets, the object, different elements from our profession, just to present on the stage, and it is something really fascinating. And the last piece, maybe as well well known for you, because Gerard Schiphorst from the Netherlands, he's working a really long time. He's a fine artist. He's making something with the objects, but his interest into the puppetry art is very special. This show is just the kind of installation with the very simple elements he just found on the street, on the street around himself, on the city, and he tried to use these small pieces, these small objects, as a part of the theater performance. He offered them a new life. That is finally something we're thinking that it is the main reason of our work, just to offer the life into the objects which are unlived. That's the main activity of our theater. He's quite often he's presenting this show, even the modern Museum of Modern Art, just to present to the spectators, to the visitors of the museums, what is going, what we can. It's up to us. It's up to the artists, up to you, what we can do with everything, what we can find around ourselves in our life. Everything is a part of the theater. That's all. Thank you very much.